Yeah, time flies. Oh, okay. Yeah, they're just part of using a Merlin tape. Yeah, King Arthur, of course, tape. But, yeah, so I'm doing a program. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I'm done with this. I'm gonna switch locations. I'm gonna switch locations. Yeah, switch locations. I'm gonna do the rest of the mix at home.
Okay. Alright, you're recording it right now?
Yeah, for myself, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. What?
I didn't know you said you're recording it.
Yeah, mixing, yeah. Thanks.
And he helped Percival into the armor. By the way, what's your name? My name is Percival. Ah, I have a brother named Percival, somewhere. My name is Sir Lamorak. And Percival thought, this is my brother. But look at me in this willow outfit that I'm just changing out of. I won't tell him who I am. He'd be embarrassed to think that this was his brother. I'll wait till I've proven myself. Well, thank you for the armor, he said. And he mounted upon Sir Bowengarde's great horse and rode off, first giving the wine cup to Lancelot to bring back to the Queen. Off he rode for about 3 days, and then he encountered a stranger knight upon the road, and the knight called to him, "Let us test ourselves with sword or spear." And Percival rode towards him. The strange knight thundered down upon him, but being much more experienced at this sort of thing, he soon had Percival flying head over heels off of his horse. "Are you all right?" said the stranger knight. "Yes," laughed Percival. "What hit me?" And the knight dismounted and raised his visor. "I hit you." "Why, you're Sir Lancelot. I met you back by the king's tent." "Yes, Percival. And I followed you. I wanted to see what kind of a knight you are. You see, my young friend, it is not enough to wear the armor if you really want to be a knight. Let me show you." And Lancelot took Percival back with him to his castle of Joyous Gard, and there Lancelot himself, the greatest of all champions, trained young Percival in the ways of knighthood. There they stayed for 3 months. At the end of that time, Percival knew how to use sword and lance so well that his skill was second only to that of Lancelot or the king. He thanked Lancelot, and Lancelot said, "Use your knighthood to help others now, Percival. Remember." "I will remember, sir, thank you." And off he rode. Now that he knew how to use a lance and sword, he took full advantage. And over the course of the next year, he came up against many experienced knights, enemies of King Arthur. And each time, Percival would defeat the knight and send him back to Camelot to beg the king's mercy and pay his respects to the Lady Yvette, the lady who had been slapped. And then each knight turned to Sir Kay and said, "Percival sends you a message, Sir Kay. Percival says he will pay you back 20 times for that blow." Now after 15 or 16 of these strong knights had arrived in Camelot with this message, Sir Kay was very nervous. The following winter, he and Sir Gawain, one of the king's nephews, were riding out in the snow when they saw a strange young knight ahead, and this knight was staring silently, unmoving, off into the forest. "There's a knight I do not recognize, Gawain. I'll challenge him for a little sport." "Do not do this, Kay. The man seems to be praying, perhaps, or thinking about his true love. Notice how he sits unmoving, looking into the forest." Now Sir Gawain was correct. As it happens, Percival was looking at some red berries set against the white snow, and these things reminded him of the beautiful red blush on the white cheek of the lady whom he had kissed so long ago in the silken tent. Now he knew what it meant to exchange rings, Now he knew what he had done, for he had been out in the world for this year. "How will I find her?" he was thinking to himself, when suddenly he heard a voice say, "Sir Knight, turn and lower your lance." Percival simply ignored the voice. "You, I'm talking to you!" "I hope this fellow goes away soon," thought Percival. Instead, Sir Kay rode up and tapped Percival on the shoulder. "Now!" Percival, in his anger, simply swung around and hit him such a blow that he knocked Kay straight off of his horse and down, unconscious, into the snow. Then Sir Gawain, who was very courteous, rode forward, and he sat a few feet away upon his horse, and he looked into the trees as Percival had done, and said, "You know, if I thought it would be as pleasing to you as it would be to me, I would like to talk to you, but only when you are ready to talk." And he waited patiently while Percival finished thinking of the beautiful lady of the silken tent. At last Percival turned to him and said, "Thank you. My name is Percival." "Percival? Why, we've been seeking you. The king sent us out to look for you. I am Sir Gawain, King Arthur's nephew, and this is Sir Kay, and you certainly have paid him back 20 times over." Sir Kay was just coming back to consciousness at that time. They helped him onto his horse, and they all rode back to Camelot. Now it was Christmas time, and many of the great lords and ladies and knights had gathered at the great city of Camelot. And who should be the first person Percival should find there but the beautiful young lady of the silken tent? She looked at him and blushed once again, and then she drew his ring from her hand and held it out to him. "Here," she said. "I think you did not understand when you gave me this the first time. It is yours." "My lady," said Percival, "I understand now, and there is no other hand upon which that ring should rest. Please keep it." And she did. And just then, who should walk in but Sir Lamorak? "That ring, that is my father's ring." "Yes, and my father's ring, too. I am your brother, Percival." And then what a happy reunion there was. And it was that day that the king himself made Percival a knight, and a knight of the Round Table. And all of them went in to celebrate Christmas together. In the throne room, Merlin the wizard had cleared a space in the center of the floor. He bowed low to the king and queen. "Your Majesties, these walls were built with magic. Now I would show you another magic, simple illusion for your entertainment." Then Merlin reached into his sleeve and drew out a snow-white dove, which he set down upon the floor. The dove began to change and grow before our eyes until, where there had been a dove only moments before, there now stood a winged horse. Suddenly, the horse changed into a huge dragon. It flexed its pointed wings and began to stretch upward, craning its neck towards the ceiling. Before anyone could react, the dragon was gone, and in its place stood a tall oak tree with wide spreading branches, through which colored lights sparkled. Well, I cannot tell you all the wonders that the great wizard created that night, but when he was done, we watched in silence as he turned and approached the king. "Sire," said the wise old man, "I have known you all your life. You are not thinking of illusions. What is it?" And then the king smiled down at him and said, "I do not wish to seem ungrateful, Merlin. Tonight you have shown us the most astonishing wonders we have ever seen, and yet—" "Yes, your Majesty?" "And yet I cannot help but feel that we have, all of us together, worked a magic greater than this. Here, follow me." And he led us all from the room and out upon the ramparts of the castle. Far below we saw the snow-covered land spreading out before us in the moonlight. There was no movement except for the slowly rising smoke from the chimneys of a distant village. And the king said, "Look." We have brought peace to a land at war, quiet to the farmer in the field and the fisherman of the river. We have conjured up the chance for the young to grow up to learn of letters, or of the land, not of the sword. Tell me, Merlin, you who are so wise, is this not true magic? Your Majesty, you have indeed woven something greater than mere illusion. You have made something that will last. There will be moments ahead when we will feel pain and sorrow. These are a part of life. Yet you have cast a stone into the waters of time, and the ripples will spread outward long after these high walls are gone. And perhaps you will remain longest of all, for I believe you will return when you are most needed. And the king smiled and looked out over the sleeping land.
And now, here I am, the last one left of all that company that sat at the great round table. And through all these years I have kept the dream alive. And now I have shared the tale with you. And perhaps you can keep the dream alive when I am gone. For I think that soon I will see the others. And I hope you will remember that all the glory and all the adventure were nothing unto themselves. They were there as the king knew, only to serve peace and friendship and true love. And in these things lies the real glory. And now I am weary. And if you will excuse an old man, I think I should like to nod off here by the fire. Just put another log on there on your way out, will you? Yes, thank you. Thank you. Good night. Thank you.